Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Siciliano, MD at Tiger Recruitment. Welcome to Tiger Recruitment's first LinkedIn Live for 2025. Today I'm joined by Angela Lopes, who's the Director of our City office, and we're just going to be sharing some of our insights into the market and what we sort of saw in the last quarter of 2024, along with what we're sort of seeing already this year. So I'm going to start by sort of summarising Q4 of 2024. I would say it's fair to say that we saw a pretty inconsistent Q4. There were lots of sort of ups and downs, and it was sort of good one week, slow the next. And I think job seekers really felt that. We spoke to a lot of candidates that sort of just found there wasn't the volume of work that they expected to see coming through, not as many opportunities in the market. And I think as Christmas sort of got closer and they knew there'd be that natural slowdown for Christmas, people sort of got a little bit more worried about it. I think, and through Angela and I talking about this, it's probably been some of the contributing factors that we saw were things around, the autumn budget announcement that happened at the end of October. There's been a lot of talk about the upcoming employment reforms. I think companies were thinking about how that might affect them. And there was sort of, a variety of other reasons that we saw things sort of slow down for job seekers.
Yeah, I think it's always a combination, isn't it, of also it being the end of the year and things naturally start to slow down towards Christmas. But I mean, I was certainly finding there was a lot of job seekers reaching out just to have conversations to find out, what's next year looking like, what are companies saying, just really to see if there's confidence in the market with a good flow of jobs coming through, which is always hard to predict. But, I think from those conversations, it's clear that there are a lot of candidates that have been in roles for a while that are looking to make the move this year, which is interesting. I think definitely. Q1 now, because, 3 weeks in, it's gone so quickly. We've got off to a good start, I think, good job flow coming through, and that's not even just temp, it's contracts as well, maternity covers, things like that, which definitely it's feeling confident, I think, as we progress through the month and into February. But I guess what's interesting is really the reasons why these roles are coming through, and whether it's things were put on hold at the end of last year and the new roles coming onto the market now, or also a combination of things like bonuses, which naturally you start to see when comps paid, people handing in and then looking for a new position, or they're moving to a new role, so replacement hires and things like that. I don't know if you've heard anything in addition or seen anything further.
Yeah, I would say it's probably that's been some of the key things. Like, we've got a lot of people at the moment. It's sort of that first week of January, there wasn't too much happening, but then I think we really saw an uplift after that, didn't we? With like job seekers coming in, people that are just wanting to sort of maybe suss things out before bonuses are paid, just in anticipation that they might not get the bonus they're expecting, or they want to wait for bonus to be paid before they make decisions. So yeah, there seems to have been a lot of that. Probably good if we talk a little bit about what we're seeing for trends for job seekers. I would say definitely the candidates that are looking to move aren't necessarily looking for big jump up in salary. It seems to be more about people are sort of have got that willingness to move for the same or similar salary, as long as they can see that there are good benefits and culture with the role that they're joining. Job seekers also seem to be more open to roles that are based in the office 5 days a week. If I guess they want to see that it's something that's good for their career, but people seem more willing to go in 5 days a week, and I think that's largely driven by a lot of the big firms that are sort of bringing their staff back into the office, in particular in the city. I think if people are getting sort of 1 day, minimum 1 day from working from home, ideally 2 days, but there seems to be a little bit more, people are sort of happy to go in for the right position.
Yeah, and I think if I remember, we touched on this in the last update as well, that I'm still seeing continuation of, key reasons are people wanting a good working environment, positive, the culture, the when there's often been changes in senior personnel, and then how that trickles down and affects the workforce, either positively or negatively. But I've certainly seen and been hearing that, people's motivations have largely been a reflection on those things happening internally. And I think that also contributes to, with job seekers, there being more movement on CVs, and companies still wanting stability, but I'm finding naturally a lot more, people aren't staying in roles for 5, 10, 15, 20 years as much now. Maybe after 2 years or 3 years looking to move and see what else is out there.
Yeah, I think that's a largely sort of generational trend that we're seeing as well, with a lot of the Gen Z workers, that they're just happy to move on and find something else if they feel that's what suits their life at the moment.
Yeah, and I think also looking at our salary and benefits review, which for those that have or haven't had the opportunity to read it yet, there were some really interesting statistics in there, which, well, from what we gathered, it was nearly half of UK workers currently have a hybrid work setup, which I guess I feel like we are hearing. But almost now a third of those are back in the office full time, which again, hearing that there is that push back to be more office based. But it's interesting to hear that actually 30% of all the respondees are now fully office based, and only 12% are fully remote, which again, that to me is exactly, again, with the number of those roles we get in now, very few make sense.
Yeah, another couple of interesting facts that I thought came in off that salary survey were around sort of employees who are considering changing their jobs within the next year are the ones that are least satisfied with their flexible working options, and that figure was at 28%. But again, it will be interesting to see how that changes. The other thing as well that was quite interesting was that 78% of respondents, which is quite a big number, think that their employers should be willing to pay more money if they want staff to work in the office full time.
It's funny how you hear that all the time when talking about salaries, and people always wanting that uplift for the commute into the office.
Yeah, and that figure was higher among our sort of Gen Z and millennial job seekers as well. So yeah, I thought that was definitely an interesting one, and I'm sure one that you and I have come across when we're interviewing candidates and job seekers that are saying, well, if I'm in the office full time, it's almost like people have two sort of salary expectations now. It's that I want this much if I've got hybrid working, but I want this much more if I'm in the office full time.
Yeah, it really is the case with candidates that you're speaking to. But I would also say that, and this is again, I think, a reflection of the back end of last year and now moving into Q1. More and more job seekers are happy to consider 5 days more than largely what they had been earlier last year. And with even if it's just the day from home, as a nice to have. It's not essential, but it is a nice to have. So yeah, again, it's interesting how it is all continuing to change.
Yeah, and I think as well, again, a lot of that has been driven by the number of people that moved out of central London during the pandemic, and now coming in 5 days a week doesn't necessarily suit their lifestyle anymore. So that seems to be the thing too. So now on to sort of what we are expecting to see across Q1 of 2025, moving into Q2. So between now and March, we're definitely expecting to see more job seekers coming onto the market. There are, obviously, as I mentioned, like sort of a lot of people that are passively seeking now, and they're planning to make a move, but they just want to see what's out there right now.